Yo, what's up? This is Gary A. Swaby, and you're now listening to the Powercast, and we will be recapping Power Book 2, Episode 5, The Gift of the Magi, or Maggie, I don't know. But yeah,
Magi.
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 There you go. The American taught me English just then, so well done. Well done. So yeah, we are here, of course, to recap Power. I'm here with Mr. Richard Bailey Jr. How you doing, Rich?
Doing good, Gary. What's up, listeners and viewers?
Indeed, indeed, and also here with Miss Dana Abercrombie. How you doing, Dana?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to talk about this season finale. It really felt like it just started, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, it feels like that.
Sheesh.
Yeah, so this is the mid-season finale.
Mid-season.
And yeah, the show will be back in December.
Yep.
So yeah, and I don't want to. I've been reading the feedback and everything. We're fully aware. We're not going to play any clips at the start, so don't worry about that. And also we are going to try and make this a lot shorter. I mean, we're very passionate about this show. I just want to say that. So sometimes, we theorize a lot and we go back and forth with the, discussion about the storytelling, the writing and everything. But and this is a mid-season finale as well. So there's a lot to talk about. We're going to try to make it shorter for you guys, but, we might have to go deep at certain points. So I just want to make that clear, first of all. And I also want to open this up by giving a shout outs to Mr. Richard Bailey Jr. and Dana Abercrombie and Adam Vale, because they just launched a new podcast, which is, also talking about a popular TV show, The Walking Dead. And that show is called I Am Negan. So if you guys are into that show, then definitely take the time to go check out I Am Negan. It's on the YouTube right now, and it's on Spotify. You can find all the links on the Koalition.com. So yeah, check that out. Any words from you guys before we get into Power?
Oh no, I just want to say yes. Thanks for the shout out, and for those interested in that show, definitely check out the podcast. We had a lot of fun talking about The Walking Dead. We're also covering World Beyond, which is premiering tonight on AMC, and we're also going to be talking about Fear the Walking Dead, which returns next week. So yeah, if you're into the Walking Dead stuff, definitely check out the show and let us know what you think.
Indeed, and now that there's a mid-season cut of Power, this is like the perfect time to kind of get into other shows and stuff. So definitely check that out if you are into The Walking Dead. So, but yeah, so let's get right into this episode. So I just want to, I want to start out talking about the teachers because, we we always need to get them out the way, right? Because, yeah, so before we get into, Jabari and Carrie and what they got up to this episode, I just want to start out with this little dialogue about Jabari. So throughout this episode, like as someone who writes and who has been writing like 2 books over the past few months, like I really started to like Jabari in this episode. Like I identified with his character. I identified with what he was going through, struggling to write his book and arguing with his agent and all these different things. Like they were doing a great job, like showing the life of like a pro-black writer, like and the struggles he's facing and everything. And then at the end, everything changed when I saw this guy plagiarizing Tariq's work. So in that moment, all of the built up feelings I had for the character, all of the like that I was developing for him, just went away, just went out the window in that moment. And that's both a good and a bad thing. I mean, it's a good thing from the perspective of the writers of the show because they were able to build up that emotion and make you have some sort of reaction to the character and his actions, and that's a good thing. That's what the show is supposed to do. But bad thing just because, I thought, you know what, this guy is actually pretty cool, but then he turned out not to be. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out, and you guys can, touch on that too, if you want to. But so what did you think of, Jabari's whole writer stuff, and then him eventually plagiarizing from Tariq, and how far do you think this is going to get, with him taking Tariq's work and making it his own? I'll go with you first, Dana.
Well, I understood I liked that, even though I feel that the teacher's storylines are someone that I really don't care about, I appreciate, well, we still have to stick with it. So I appreciate what they did with showing the struggle of being a Black writer who's not writing for something that's essentially, that's going to be contemporary, and one of those things is a popular type of genre. And I appreciate the scene where when he was with his, I'm going to assume, editor, and he was saying, "Look, I got on a lot of white clients now. I've made it. These are the kind of books that we are selling, and you can't come in, with your." He basically said you can't come in with your Black book and your Black issues and think it's going to sell. And that, I felt, was just a really great telling of what's going on in the whole book industry right now, that it's much harder for African American writers to sell, especially also in terms of getting paid. So that, I thought they did very well. And I understand, and I've really felt that he was going through the whole writer's block situation, and he talked about him trying to live up to the success of his first book, where he said it made people cry, and he just couldn't do it. The fact that he would end up plagiarizing a student's work, that was like, whoa. I did not exactly see that coming, especially if you listen through his whole speeches throughout the episodes about, what it means to be a strong Black man, and what it's, to have integrity and to have pride and to show up on time and to be early and to do your work and stay driven and focus. And then to see at the end where he just kind of like crumbles and was like, here's the kids paper, and he's going to just plagiarize it. I wonder how it's going to play out later on, in the sense of, we have a lot of different technology now where they run through a whole plagiarism. There's like an app or some type of system where you can run through someone's work to see if it was plagiarized. So I wonder how that's going to be. I wonder also if Tariq is even going to like fight it and go against it, or not say anything, because that would just bring on more attention to him, and it might shed light into what he's doing. I don't know at this point, but I thought that whole storyline part was not bad. A bit shocking, but I liked it.
That actually was good. That whole arc was done very well, in my opinion. So I give them kudos to that. But Rich, what do you think of Jabari plagiarizing?
Well, I certainly agree with pretty much everything that both you and Dana had to say. I do think that them telling this story, very, very well done. And I'm pretty sure that Courtney Kemp has also, she as a writer and producer and a show creator, I'm pretty sure she has gone through some struggles as well in stuff that she's done previously before she had the success of making Power into what it is right now. So I'm glad they were able to give the viewers an idea of some of the struggles someone would go through. As for him plagiarizing, I personally thought that was an excellent move, because, I mean, the whole point is that, I know there are a lot of people that watch this show. Well, from what I understand, and I'll get into this a little bit more later, but I love the fact that they are writing this show for the people that dislike Tariq and for the people that like Tariq, because now they're giving you a reason to root for Tariq, because of the people he has to deal with and the people that are out for him. And then on the same token of that, the people who actually don't like the Tariq character because they still are not over what happened with him and Ghost. They also will now be watching with excitement to see, well, how is he going to get taken down? So I just want to point that out in terms of the writing for the episode. I like how they are writing the show now because it's designed for people who not only like Tariq, but also those that dislike the character and they want to see him go down. So that's great. But yeah, as for Jabari, we'll see what happens with the character, but I like the fact that they made a use of the character because up to this point, he was just harsh on Tariq about making sure he gets his work done. And he says all this stuff to him about, oh, you have to be accountable for your actions, all this other stuff. That's why I laughed when I saw him take this route, because that is exactly what I think some people would do, is that they're preaching to the choir to tell someone, oh, you have to be a great person, you have to do this, and then they turn around and do dirty stuff. So I think that was excellent to put that in there. But yeah, we'll see what happens from here. But in terms of how far it can go, we'll have to see. I guess once he gets his book approved, if Tariq is able to find a draft of it, because I don't know how fast the book would get done and completed and stuff like that. I mean, we'll have to just wait and see. But yeah, so far, I have no complaints with how they handled this.
Yeah. I want to see how far this goes, and just given how they're writing Tariq at the moment and making him calculating, I think he's gonna find out about this and probably try to use it against Jabari in some way. Because the game is really about power at this moment. I think, because the way Tariq is just leveraging everything, I think he is full well gonna find out and try to use this in some way.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so speaking of Jabari, there was also a moment in this episode where it seemed like things were beginning to become okay with him and Carrie. Like they were playing nice, and it seemed like, hey, like these guys, they might just get together and be a couple, like, because why not, right? If they got all these pent up feelings, surely you guys can just work things out and just be cool. But before we got to really see that play out, there was actually a moment where Carrie is kind of intercepted by Zeke, the basketball player. So he kind of walks in the bar or wherever she was, the cafe or wherever it was, and they start talking, they hit it off. Jabari's calling her and she's not taking the call, and then a moment that Richard has kind of alluded to or speculated about before happens. Yep. Where Carrie gets with Zeke basically. So Rich, I want to ask you, now that you've seen this fully happen now and you called it a while ago, what did you think of that scene?
Well, I figured they, in my mind, they had to take this approach because you have this situation where she's involved with Jabari, and we know that Jabari messed around with his graduate student not too long ago. So she always was judging him, and then was also angry at the fact that he was messing around with students who he's actually taught. So for her to now be the one that also takes this dramatic turn and of course has this fling with Zeke. We'll see where that goes from here, whether or not that continues. She was hesitant at first, but she still continued to go through with it. So to see that happen with the character, it makes the character even more vulnerable now, because she's messed around with the student. The only difference is, I guess you could say, Jabari messed around with a graduate student, but you're messing around with a student that is still actively at the school. This is just as bad. So both her and Jabari could be in trouble later because of what they have done, if anyone was to find out. But I was a little entertained to see that Zeke was the one, because I know that he tried to talk game to her a couple episodes ago and got shot down, obviously. So to see that he was able to intercept now and make something happen, that was pretty funny for me. because he gave her the whole spiel talking about, oh yeah, my dad's not around and I live with with my aunt now. That she's the one that's in my life. My mom is. I don't really talk with my mom. All the stuff that you could say to try to get some sympathy for someone. So that was funny. But yeah, to see Carrie take this turn, it's unfortunate, but I think it was coming. Only because we've already seen Jabari take the turn and messing around with a grad student. So they truly are 100% right for each other, in my eyes.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know what it was that made her, go along with that, because it's like she was upset when Jabari did it with a grad student, and then she goes and one-ups him and does something even worse, by sleeping with someone who's currently a student, and like, so was this her way of getting back at him, or like I don't understand her her thought process there, but maybe she was just acting on impulse. But Dana, what do you make of it?
I was not a fan of this. Maybe it's just me. I find student-teacher relationships to be very cliche and corny. I didn't feel that it was driving the story at all. I don't know if it was like, oh, let me get back at him, or I'm just happen to be in my emotions and feelings, and he's just right there. And he has a ding dong. So I don't know what her motives are. I kind of, overall, in general, I feel like her character is just not well fleshed out. I don't know what she wants. I don't know what her end game is. So to me, it was just, oh, yep, Richard predicted this. Let me finish up that scene. What's next?
Yeah, and you make a great point, Dana, about her character not feeling fleshed out, because this is like a trope in writing where it's like, if you have a female character and all she's about is kind of being in a romantic situation or having sex with someone and stuff like that, like, it begins to dilute the character, because she should be about more than that. She should have bigger goals than just that, but it seems like she's basically just there for that role.
She needs a hobby.
I want to make a quick comment here. Hopefully I didn't cut you or Dana off.
No,
we'll get into that later. But it's funny you mentioned that, because that was pretty much the exact conversation that Monet had with Diana at the start of this episode. How the woman should take control and use the guy for whatever they need to get out of him, and then continue to seek something higher than just being someone trying to sleep with somebody. So we'll get into that later. But continue, yeah.
No, that was a very good parallel right there to draw. So yeah, you made an excellent point. And yeah, like, cause like I said earlier, it's like there was a moment in this episode where it seemed like everything was okay with Jabari and Carrie, and they could just completely get together and be an item. I'm sure it wouldn't be that much of a problem for two teachers to have a relationship, as long as they keep their personal stuff out of the school, because I've actually been at school where there were two people who two teachers who were in a relationship, but you wouldn't know, because they kept it out of school, kind of. They kept their relationship out of the school, and they were just always professional at school. So if they play it like that, then it's completely fine. Like, and it seemed like they were going to be okay in this episode, but they just kind of had to, throw in something quickly to make sure that the tension was still ongoing or something. So yeah, it just feels very forced, and I don't know what either of these people want at this point. I mean, we know they gave Jabari something else to do, because he's got his book thing going on, so that's something separate that he's doing. But what about Carrie? It seems like she's just there to have sex, basically, with people. So
that's a very good point. The both of y'all made good points. Hopefully, we will get more answers on that. But yeah, that's exactly what you just said it perfect, Gary. They gave Jabari something else to do, and again, they also connected it back to Tariq, because the whole question we had is, why are these characters so important to Tariq? So now Jabari definitely going to be an important character to Tariq moving forward. So we'll see what they do with Carrie.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, maybe, there's still time because there's going to be more episodes, so maybe they'll delve deeper with that character, but we'll just have to see. We do have a slight echo there, so I don't know if maybe you can turn the volume down and it might be a little better, I don't know. But, yeah, that sounds a lot better. Okay, so, man, there's so much to get to in this episode. Man, oh man, where do I go next? Okay, so there are some, like, very juicy parts that I kind of want to save for later.
Okay.
So let me get right to this scene, right? Or should I? Let me see. Okay, yeah, we can get there because, it's all linked anyway, it don't matter. But, okay, so there's a scene in this episode, right? Where, of course, Tamika, we saw from last week, Tamika is supposed to testify, before the judge because she was served those papers or whatever from Davis Mcleen. And throughout the whole episode, they're going back and forth, Saxe, Tariq, Tasha, they're trying to get Tamika not to, testify, and, because she can put, she can, like, with the information she has, it'll basically be revealed that Saxe, was at truth, and, if that's revealed, then, they have to reveal that, Tariq was the one who saw him there, and everything like that, and then that kind of leads to the truth, right? So they don't want her to, testify, basically, and we end up seeing a scene where Saxe, talks to Tariq. He tells him the situation, and then, Tariq talks to his mother, and, she, at first she's reluctant, but then eventually, when the pressure is on and Mcleen is, standing his ground and saying that we are going to have Tamika testify, Tasha encourages Tariq to do something about it. And then we see Tariq go to Tamika's place, and he has a gun. So this is what I want to get to, right? What was Tariq going to do? What would have happened if things went through and Davis Mcleen didn't show up? Was Tariq really going to go through that? Like, was he going to go through with the action of what we think he was going to do? Go ahead, Dana.
Well, you remember when he was inside of the house, right? And remember he distracted her with, I need a cup of water. I'm thirsty. I'm parched. And she went to go turn her back to give him the glass of water. That's when he pulled out the gun to place it inside of his jacket. I think it was a jacket pocket. Yeah. And then she came back and was like, no, I'm not thirsty. I'm good. And she, kept talking about the case and what she was not going to do, and that she was going to still continue to testify. And he was kind of fiddling with his gun to kind of indicate that, yes, he was there to threaten her. I'm not going to fully hope not to kill her, because that would be stupid on his end, but to threaten her, that would be stupid too. But still, he was there to kind of force her to not testify. And it just so happened that Mcleen was there. He ended up coming in, and that changed, the motive of him visiting her. But I felt that he had every intention, because remember, they showed him taking out the gun. He fiddling with the gun. He did the whole distraction part. So he was prepared for it. Now, whether or not it would pull off, that's another thing I would have loved to see. Because remember, him being able to kill his father, okay, but is he able to kill again?
Remember, he's already killed twice already.
Well, he's killed twice, but like in this regard, this is not someone who is just a random corner boy or just his dad. This is someone who is the DA, who has that kind of power that would alter the whole case and put him in the spotlight.
Yeah, because in my head, I can't make sense of any scenario where he pulls out that gun and it works out favorably for him. Like,
Absolutely not.
Yeah, like no matter what he did at that point, it would have been bad. Like in the future, it would have been bad. But Rich, like, what do you think of that? Like, would he have gone through with it, and what possible outcomes could you have seen? Like, if that scene went all the way.
Well, I agree. He definitely would not have done that, because if he did that, then he will be in a far worse situation than he was at the end of this episode. But I mean, yeah, I think if he pulled out the gun, there would have been some hesitancy, because you're telling him, yeah, I need you to not be involved in this anymore. I just feel like he would have struggled to really, you know, keep himself under composure. And as we saw in the span of time, the little quick span of time that he was there, then you see Davis McLean shows up very quickly thereafter. So it wouldn't have been good for him if he did anything of the sort to even try and threaten. Now, the one thing that I will say is that he did of course confess to her that he told her that he told Saxe that he saw Saxe there the night that Jamie got shot. So that information right there, once he started to have that conversation, that's when I knew he wasn't going to do anything, because you don't confess that information as to why to try and stop everything from happening. You just don't take that route. So once he told her that, I said, oh, well, he's definitely not going to threaten or anything else, because you pretty much just told her the information that you didn't want everyone to hear about. So yeah, but I have to agree, it wouldn't have worked out favorably for him. And to answer your question, if he would have pulled out that gun, he would have struggled with that whole sequence, I feel.
Yeah.
Because I mean, this is someone who he relied on to try and help Tasha in the beginning to get off. So it still would have been hard for him to do that, I think. But yeah, Dana raises a very interesting point. I'll be curious to see if he can, once again, if he has to kill somebody, if it comes to that. But we have to wait and see about that.
Yeah, and I don't know if the intention was to kill her or just to threaten her and make her not testify or whatever. But either way,
threat.
Yeah, either way, I feel like it wouldn't have been good. And this isn't somebody. This isn't a drug dealer or corrupt cop that killed your sister, and this isn't your dad who you had this special kind of damaged relationship with. This is like a civilian, like a real person who hasn't done anything wrong.
Exactly.
And I want to see if he's capable of going to that extent with somebody who's just a normal citizen and hasn't done anything wrong, who's truly innocent. Because that's when that turns into a different kind of criminal right there. Like when you start harming people who are innocent and haven't done anything.
I agree.
Yeah, go ahead.
And one other quick point that I want to also add, to go back to when Tasha told him to threaten. If there's any fan out there that still is rooting for Tasha and thinks that she's a great person, there's no way in hell that I could understand why you would think she's a great person to tell her son, oh, threaten her, do whatever to make sure that she doesn't go through with this. That's just a trifling person. Yeah. At the very end, desperation, trying to do whatever they got to do, and yeah, that's not how it works. And the last point that I will make before you move on is one thing I did find interesting is Tariq also told her, when he told her about the whole thing with Saxe was there, he also said, yes, Tommy Egan is the one that killed Ghost. So they keep talking about Tommy, Tariq, Tasha. So I can't wait to see when Tommy shows up on this show.
Yeah, I can't wait either. And you took the words right out of my mouth, because I was gonna address Tasha. Tasha is the new Tariq. Like, she is the most hated person now in my eyes, because we've seen her do this multiple times. Like, she makes out like she has Tariq's best interests at heart, like she wants to protect him, save him, but then she encourages him to do bad things. She encourages him to sell drugs in season 6 of Power. She, now she's encouraging him to hurt someone. Or, I don't know what she thought he was going to do, but she encouraged him to do that, and that, like, your mother shouldn't be doing that. Like, this is, if you killed your dad for for trying to do the best for you, like, how do you view Tasha then? Because she's trying to encourage you to do very bad things right now. And
yeah,
that kind of it defeats the purpose of her trying to protect him from prison in the first place. So go ahead, Dana.
This is what I was wondering. Remember back in the regular Power when they was with Tasha's mother, and Tasha was like basically saying, this is the life you have to live, make sure you get this and this and keep your money right. So I kind of felt that Tasha was encouraged by that to be in that kind of lifestyle. Because even when she divorced, remember when she left Ghost and had her own place and everything, we thought this was going to be a get your life moment and go back to school and open up your own legit business and be amazing. And she kind of just resorted back to that, what she already knew, which is that drug life. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of not surprised by her actions, especially since it was Ghost who really tried to separate Tariq from that lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so with him dead, Tasha is going to be more at the forefront of that. And remember, even then, during, I believe, the season 6, when, she kept talking about Ghost gotta die. Ghost gotta get killed. That kind of situation where it kind of felt that she put it out there in the universe, not necessarily saying you have to go kill your father now, but it was very accepting that he has to die, and I'm gonna go shoot your father. So as is a child's mind, Tariq is very protective of his mother, and no matter what, he's always listened to his mother. He can't stand his father. This is like the tale of Oedipus. You marry your mother and kill your father. Not literally, but you get the point. So with this situation, I felt that Tasha allows Tariq to do whatever he wants because she knows that the lifestyle that his father wanted for him, get your education, go legit, be a businessman. I don't want you to know anything about this street life. That's gone. And Tariq also said, I'm not doing that. Many times, remember he kept calling his father Ghost. What you gonna do, Ghost? What you gonna do? This sign of defiance and disrespect, and to show that I'm not gonna leave the life that you want. I'm gonna still do my own thing. Which, remember, at the finale, in order for him to get that money, he still has to keep up his grades.
Yeah.
And he thought that once Ghost dies, we'll just get the money and whatever. We go and live our lives, whatever. So no matter what, that is always going to be in the forefront of Tariq, and also in the forefront of, I just forgot the mother's name. Oh my gosh, Tasha. Yes. So it's just one of those circumstances where it is what it is.
So you feel like she's been shaped to think that way?
She's been shaped to be that way. He shaped himself to be that way. Remember, he always was that gun ho. What you doing, Dad? In the terms of, Ghost. I want to be a drug dealer, Ghost. That kind of situation where no matter what, he's going to do whatever he wants to do, and Tasha also is going to do what she wants to do. So it's just a product. I don't know if it's the product of their environment or the product of how they was just born.
Okay.
The only comment I would make is she did well when this whole thing started out. She did tell Tariq, go to school, live your life. She did not want him to do that, but when she saw that he was doing it, once he had to make money for Mcleen, then she was full speed ahead. And then, of course, when she got that call from Lorenzo Tejada, then she's like, "Oh, you got to do whatever they say, do, but make sure you have protection." So she was fully invested in that. But yeah, I do want to at least say, just give her some credit and say that she did try to tell him, "Don't just go to school. Don't try to get involved in this." But Tariq, of course, still had to get involved because he didn't want her going down for that murder.
That was all for nothing because Tariq is determined to do what he wants. Very easily, they could have shipped Tariq over to, I don't know, Switzerland. Let him go to one of those boarding schools. And just, you take him out of New York and out of that environment and out of his connect. But they didn't do that. Tariq is one of those kids who's determined to do what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Because in his mindset, he's still doing what's right. Protecting his mother. He sees the threat right now is she is in jail. If she would have walked away scot-free and they could have lived a life separate, like, oh, you're done with, let's just go and move, maybe then everything would have been different. But he sees Tasha being in jail as a threat, and his goal is to get her out no matter what.
Yeah.
And you're not going to make $50,000 a day by let's go to school. It is what it is. You're just not going to do that.
Now, this might be a controversial take here, right?
Uh-oh.
But you could make an argument that as an 18-year-old, his life is way better with Tasha in jail. Because now he has nobody trying to control him, tell him what to do. He's his own man. He's just doing what he wants right now. Like, and he doesn't have to answer to anyone.
Does he? I mean, you got people trying to kill him in the shadows, at least according to Tasha. You have Mary J. Blige, who's basically telling him what to do. You know, and remember he was like, I'm your son. That situation that's going on. He's still taking orders. But yeah, he's like more independent in the sense of I don't have to call you every 5 minutes to know where I'm at. He's still taking orders. Remember when the kid was like, "Get down here now, bro," and he didn't know it was that whole connect thing. He thought something was going on. He's still listening to people. He's not like free abandon. Let's do what we want. So it's still like it's kind of the same environment. Actually, it would have been better, previous seasons, because then it was like you're able to be a kid and do what you want to do.
Yeah, it just seems like his whole hatred was, before was his father, and sometimes his mother. I mean, in the earlier days, he had a lot of beefs with Tasha as well. But it seemed like his biggest conflict back then was everybody trying to lie to him and control him. So it would seem to me that he's more happy now that he's in control and able to do him with nobody standing in his way. But what was you gonna say, Rich?
Yeah, I also was going to add to what you just said and said, yes, there is still he does still have a level of control, because you have to remember he was the one that orchestrated this whole thing to work with Monet, and then all the while she has her own kids trying to spy on him and see what he's up to, and he is outsmart every single one of them, to the point where at the end of the episode, Mary J. Blige is, all right, yeah, you can come over here anytime. You're a part of the family now. So I mean, if he was the one that was taking orders, not doing nothing but taking orders, I mean, it appears to me that that's not all true when it comes to the Tejada family, because he's the one telling them, I need product. So they're working for him to an extent.
I understand now.
Yeah. But he does have some level of control. I would say that, yeah, it is best that Tasha is not she's not in the picture right now, but we'll see how that goes moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, depending how this turns out, it will be interesting to see what things will be like if Tasha does get out, and how that will affect their bond, like the mother-son bond, because now Tariq has a lot of power in the situation now, so I want to see like how will that interaction be if Tasha gets out, and will she get involved with Monet and everything else, so.
Good question. We'll see.
Because I think if that happens, you're going to start to see a lot of parallels between Tasha and Ghost. Like, I think You know, she's gonna try and control him just like Jamie St. Patrick was. So
Yeah. Absolutely. I definitely see that happening.
so yeah, but yeah, I don't want to harp on this too long. So we'll keep it moving to some other stuff. So we might as well get to this because it kind of plays off of what we just discussed. So there was a pact made in this episode between two characters that kind of just throws in a curveball, perfect for the mid-season finale. So we talked about the Tamika situation, and she didn't end up testifying in the end because Davis McLean showed up and they talked off screen about things, I guess, and they came to some kind of conclusion, and then Davis McLean visits Saxe in his office, and he figures out what happened, and we are going to talk about, of course, what's her name? His niece, Riley. Yeah, we're gonna talk about Riley and all the stuff that Saxe was able to find out. But basically, for just so we can talk about this, basically Saxe has a recording of Tariq. Kind of, he's at Ghost's grave, tombstone or whatever, and he's saying, "I had to do it," and he's drunk at this point. he's had a spiked drink or whatever from Riley, so he's just kind of letting his mind loose, and we're going to talk more about that later. But what we want to talk about right here is Saxe basically shows this footage to Davis McLean of Tariq confessing and saying, "I had to do it, I had to kill my dad," or whatever. And they come to an agreement. Then they say, "Okay, look, my client is Tasha St. Patrick. It's not Tariq, and you didn't kill Jamie St. Patrick either. So let's work together, and we'll get Tasha out, and then Tariq goes to jail." So they make a pact, right? And I just want to say this first of all before I get you guys' take on this. Not only was this this was a great moment, I think, but it's great because this happens in real life. Because if you think about it, right, in any given city in America, and I read a lot of legal thrillers and watch legal shows and everything, but these people, like, you have the lawyers, you have the prosecutors, you have judges or whatever. These guys see each other like a lot during the course of a week, a month, a year, or whatever. They see each other a lot. They practically work together all the time, right? And the criminals, they're just outsiders, and they're essentially taking the money from these criminal organizations or whatever. The lawyers are taking the money to defend them, and the prosecutors, the judges, and all these people, they're getting paid salaries to do their job, right? So all of these people intermingle. Do you think that they don't have their own special friendships and relationships with each other? Even the opposing counsel, like, all these people know each other. So they have these kind of deals in place in real life, like, and they let's say a drug kingpin, like I don't know, like, I won't use a real example, but let's, with any drug kingpin, right, that they try, like, all of the people are in cahoots, and they're just making money at the end of the day. They want to draw these things out. They want these cases to go on for a very long time, so everybody keeps getting paid and milking things, and they probably already have an idea how it's going to end already, but they're just, drawing things out so that they get as much money, they maximize the profits of each case. So to see this moment happen in the show, I really liked that, because this happens in real life for sure. And I want to see how this plays out. And this makes Mclean's character a lot more interesting, because we see more of that that grimy lawyer type of mentality, where it's like, I'm just here to do my job and get as much money as I can. I don't care about anyone. So yeah, I'm loving this, and we already know Saxe is a dirtbag, so this is pretty cool to see, and I want to see how far this can play out before Tariq and Tasha start to catch on and everything like that. So yeah, like Dana, what do you think of this whole pact between now Davis Mcleen and Cooper Saxe?
I'm going to be very honest. There's a lot of things in this show that you can predict or guesstimate. I didn't see this part coming, which kind of made me really excited. It's like, let's get the two creepy scumbag guys together and form a super friends group. This was great. And it also makes me excited to see what kind of other dirt they're going to dig up, even though it's very inadmissible. So I look forward to their sleaziness together, and this could be actually a fun partnership.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I want to see how they're gonna pull the wool over Tariq's eyes and Tasha and everything, because they're not gonna back down. They're not gonna let these things happen without you know.
In a weird way, I wouldn't put it past them because they can't, it's not admissible, but I wouldn't put it past them if they leak the video to the press,
Mm.
Mm,
which then would call in Tate. So
Ah.
yeah,
mm.
that could be a way to really do it. So I wonder how that's going to go down, but I do hope they leak it.
I just want to make a quick comment on what you just said. I do recall in season 6 that Tate, when all this stuff was going down with Jamie, and we saw that Tate was trying to tell Jamie something about Tariq. But that was at that point. That's when they were at the party, and Jamie was like, "Oh, he says, oh, I don't care what you got to say." He just went off on him and then made Tate angry. Yeah, Tate knows a lot of information about Tariq, so that would be a great way to bring him back because he knows the kid is probably up to no good. So that's a very good observation.
Yeah, yeah. Tate is definitely like a wild card in this situation who could blow things open a lot, because right now he's lying out of interest of you know of his personal image, because he was aligned with Jamie, and then he's also kind of clipped in with Stern and stuff, and the Democrats, so they all want to make Jamie look good and innocent and stuff, but he has a lot of information that that can come to light. So so yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see what they choose to do with Tate and how that ties into his own story and everything. So
Hmm.
so yeah, but Rich, any like thoughts on the whole pact and everything that was made?
Yeah, once again, brilliant writing. This goes back to what I was saying earlier about I like how they're making this show now, catering it to people who want to see Tariq's downfall and also root for Tariq. Because literally, a lot of people who, at the point, they were just in the storyline. Now they are switching sides to become enemies. Now, one thing I will say, because you and I had a discussion about this before we started recording, it's very possible that Davis McLean does end up helping out Tariq in the end, but only after he is blackmailed. And the reason why we had that discussion is because, again, last week we saw that McLean was sleeping around with Paula, who was his partner. Of course, he is married. Now, I don't know if his wife knows that he's been messing around, but if Tariq was to somehow find out this information, he can use that against Davis McLean and blackmail him so that he prevents him from moving forward in working with Saxe. But again,
Right.
we'll have to see if that's what they take, because I don't think you're going to introduce the whole thing with him sleeping around with Paula for that not to come up later as something else. But
Here's my, oh, sorry.
oh no, go ahead, go ahead.
My issue with that is extramarital affairs occur so much and so often, and he's already a sleazy character. Would that even phase him or his wife? Like, oh, you've been cheating around. Does that do anything anymore?
Well, I don't know, but one thing I do know is that Paula is concerned about Tariq. We got that from the last episode because
Right.
when they met up, she saw that he had the gun. So if she knows that or finds out that Davis is going against Tariq, I think she may decide to help him out, and that may cause a rift in their relationship as well. Because it's very clear she is concerned about Tariq. Uh, Davis, after this episode, you have to question that now because he's concerned about winning, and
He's
that's what it's
concerned
all
about
about.
money.
Yeah,
Even if he lost the case, as long as you paid up and his account is full, I think that's all he cares about.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, they can definitely take it in any direction they want to take it, but it's interesting because again, the decision to align these two together, I think it's great because as Gary said, it makes Davis McLean a much more interesting character, and then also it makes it very clear cut to keep the viewer guessing as to what's going to happen next. So I think they did an excellent job to make that alliance come together.
Yeah, and what you said, Rich, with what's that woman's name again that McLean is sleeping with? His partner,
Paula,
Paula. Yeah.
Yep.
I think that is definitely the more likely route that they're gonna take here, because I mean, whether they're going to take the time to show McLean's wife and everything in the show is anyone's guess, but Paula is a character that is there and is already kind of established, and she's had a direct encounter with Tariq, so I feel
Yep.
like they can she could really be a wild card in this situation where maybe she's the one who kind of reaches out to Tariq and lets him know what's going on when she catches wind of it, so yeah, I think that could be how it plays out from here.
Absolutely.
But yeah, man, because I mean, this is a thing in writing where if you have a piece of work, obviously it has a start and it has a finish, and you have to get there. But usually the midpoint is a transitional point where things just completely switch up, and the stakes get more it gets a lot more intense for the main character. And they did that perfectly with this mid-season, they completely flipped things on Tariq, and in a good way and a bad way, because there's a good thing that we're going to talk about in a little while that happened. Well, arguably good, but we'll unpack that when we get there. But yeah, this is great, like, because this is the biggest thing that could potentially happen to Tariq right now, where he's called in for the murder of Jamie St. Patrick, because that means he just turned 18 as well. So if he were to get charged now, he's gonna get tried as an adult, I'm assuming, right? Or does it matter what age you were when you committed
It
the
really
crime?
depends on the crime it is that you commit. It's something that's really heinous. They have committed children and then put them in adult prisons and charged them as an adult. But the fact that he is 18 and the fact that they, made sure that this was a birthday event, I think is going to say something in order to move the show forward.
Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
good point. Yep.
And that was well done too. Like, they timed it perfectly because they made this happen when it's Tariq's birthday. So it's like, he's a real man now, and now he has to, he's gonna be held accountable for the actions that he did, like, because he did some serious stuff while he was still considered a minor. But he's gonna have to face the consequences as an adult now. So I like how they timed that up, in the show and everything.
Yeah.
My microphone almost dropped there, but
Mic drop moment.
exactly, mic drop. But yeah, we're good. So yeah, I mean, any more thoughts on that before we move on?
No. I very, 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 very well done, and I look forward to seeing what happens next.
You okay, Dana?
Oh, I thought I was muted. I didn't know you could hear me.
Oh,
I'm just making sure.
I'm good.
Good. Okay, so I don't even know where to start now. So of course, it's Tariq's birthday. And at the start of the show, near the start of the show, we got some build up to let us know that it was his birthday coming. We got the flashback. Well, we had the dream sequence, I should say,
Yeah.
with Tasha, and she was having a meal with Tariq and her mother, and the other child, and
Yaz.
Yaz. There you go. She's never around, so I'm never gonna remember her name. She shows up like once every 10 episodes or something. So
No, we saw her during the finale. That's messed up.
yeah, the finale and the funeral. I think we saw her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, there's that sequence, and then Raina shows up, the ghost version, and Tasha is of course disturbed, because it would have been Raina's birthday as well as Tariq, because they're twins. Yeah. So Jaden, who is Tariq's, I don't know if we should call him best friend, but
Oh no, Braden.
Braden, sorry, yeah, Braden.
Yeah.
Yeah, who is Tariq's friend. I don't know if we could call him best friend, but yeah, it's his friend, and he cares about Tariq. It seems like he's one of the only people who actually really cares about Tariq. So, that's a positive thing, I think. And throughout the whole episode, Riley is with him as a new girlfriend, who is Saxe's niece, and she's trying to find any information she can. She's asking him a million questions about Tariq, which should flag something in his mind, but he's just like, whatever.
Oh no, well it does at the end, towards the end of the episode though.
Oh yeah. Like he catches on, he realizes that she's asking a lot of questions about him, and he calls her out for it, but he should have been more suspicious earlier on as well. But yeah, so basically he's setting up a surprise party for Tariq. And, we see that play out, and then the party goes down, Tariq shows up, and a lot of interesting things happen here, because, you have you have Monet's children who show up, Drew and Diana, and you have Lauren, but the first thing I want to get to, right, before we unpack all of that juiciness, I want to talk about Braden's brother.
Yep.
Because he's been on the sidelines for the last few episodes or whatever, and we know that he's a bit of a arrogant, I don't want to curse, but yeah, he's arrogant and he's annoying. So towards the end of this, we see him do some very annoying things throughout the episode. Like, he spills a drink on Tariq, and Tariq snaps on him. And then, later on when Tariq is passed out, he's in his room. So, he kind of kicks him out of his room and everything. And then we see much later that he goes into, I think is that Braden's home? Or is it like their shared home or something?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, he goes in there and he finds where they're hiding the stuff that they're selling. Yep. And he starts stealing. So I want to ask you guys, like, what do you think this is the purpose of this character? What do you think his intentions are? And how do you see it playing out with him? Is this going to cause like a lot of drama within his family, him and his brother? Or, is this going to hurt Tariq in the long run? And possibly, it's hard to kind of, there's a new, we already know that he's in business with Monet and everything. So is this going to hurt that relationship? The fact that somebody is stealing, and that might lead to less money being transferred and stuff like that. So what do you guys think of this? So I'm going to go to you first, Rich.
So to answer the question, Braden's brother's role is to basically cause problems because up until this point, everything is great between Braden and Tariq. You know, as far as their business, they're making a lot of money. They're doing well, and of course, Tariq is doing well for the Tejadas. Is also because of this. So now that the brother is involved and has been stealing the product, that's definitely going to cause some issues because again, we do know that Braden's family is very wealthy. So it's going to possibly create a rift between both of those brothers. And then I also say again with the writing, an excellent job because what I thought was going to happen is that they were going to take the cliche approach of pretty much Riley gets close to Braden, and Braden ends up telling her everything he knows about Tariq. But they made the Tariq character so smart where he hasn't even told Braden everything that he is into. At the end of this episode, that's when he starts to tell him about the Tejada family. So now he's trusting Braden a lot more. He says there will be no more lies, etc., etc. But it's going to be an issue now because Braden's brother stole that product, and I'm very curious to see what's going to happen with that because, like you said, Gary, when his brother poured mistakenly poured the drink on Tariq in this episode because he was drunk, Tariq was about ready to beat this guy down. I'm pretty sure some people want to see him get into a fight to make sure he actually can fight. So that is going to they're definitely going to have another encounter because now it has to happen. And you start messing with the product, you start messing with the money, and Tariq is the one that would pay the price. So they have to get down to the bottom of this. So I'm only curious to see what in terms of how they put it together, which direction it's going to go, how they're going to approach it, and build upon what's happening right now. But yeah, Braden's brother is definitely going to be an issue. And now that Tariq is letting Braden in a lot more, it's going to complicate things a lot more because now he's got to be worried about his brother messing things up for the both of them. So yeah, we'll see which direction they go. But again, I'm so glad they did not go the route of, well, Braden falls for Riley. Now let me tell you everything that I know about Tariq. They can still do that if they want to, but I don't believe that that's going to happen now. But yeah, I'm glad that they instead have it where this whole thing with both of the brothers are going to end up having a conflict later. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, like I want to know is Tariq going to be the one to approach his brother and possibly put hands on him, or will Braden do that for him? And because it is his brother.
Yep.
So
Braden.
Yeah, and it seems like in this episode, they made it very clear that Braden is loyal to Tariq. Like
Yep.
He sees him as like a true good friend, and he seems like he cares about him a lot. So I want to see how he handles that when that situation arises between his brother and Tariq. I want to see how far he goes with that. But yeah, Dana, any thoughts on that? The brother character and him stealing and Braden and everything.
Can I pull out my edit pen and start killing off characters now, or is that
Nah,
the moment when
go
I get
for it.
really excited? I get like really happy because I dead character. Yes. All right. So here's the thing. Brother has to go. We don't know exactly what he's going to do with the drug. That if he's going to start his own thing and start selling, or if he is just an addict, because he could be an addict too. I don't know. But when the supplies start missing, and we don't, and Monet starts getting a little side eye and thinking that people are trying to steal from her, this is going to get very ugly. Do I see Braden going after his brother? I don't know. If they were adults, absolutely. But the fact that they're still teenagers and they're still young, I don't see his brother killing him. That's just I can't. They still have that close bond. You can even say closeness is your brother. And they were only like what? Maybe 18, 17, 19. So I'm not exactly sure if he's going to be the one. Maybe it'll be Tariq. or maybe to be one of Monet's boys once they find out what's going on and who actually took the drugs.
Oh yeah, yep. Kane, perhaps.
So, mhm.
Yep.
So there's a lot of different ways that this kid can get killed, but the fact that he just might get killed is like, yay to me, because he comes across as very obnoxious. You know, when you're having a drug business, even during school, you want a low key kind of image. Right? You don't want to be out there flaunting and everything else. And the brother just seems to be the polar opposite of that. He will be someone who is bringing too much attention. And we kind of saw that in the first, I think it was the first episode when it was that other gang that they was dealing with. And remember, they was bringing too much attention because they was on the YouTube and the Instagram
Yeah.
showing off all the time and with the police. So I kind of feel that that's where Braden's brother is going to start doing things. It's like, yeah, come get this, and he's on the Instagram and the YouTube and the Snappy chats, and it's going to bring that unwanted attention where his brother's not going to do anything, or if it is, maybe they'll get into a fight and he accidentally kills him. But I don't see him all out, being I am my brother's keeper, bang bang, and you're dead.
Yeah. You just said something a while ago that had my mind racing, because imagine if, there's a situation where they know that there's some money missing and stuff, and then, maybe Kane shows up at the campus and starts looking around, seeing what's going on, and then he finds out the brother is stealing, and then he acts on impulse and kills him right there and then. Like,
yep.
That will make things very messy, and, that will make a lot of, interesting circumstances to look at, because if you look at that situation, it's like, okay, what will Braden think about that? Because now Tariq has taught him, about the family and everything, so he'll know, who these people are, and so what will that do to his friendship with Tariq, at that point, if he knows that this guy just came and killed his brother or whatever. So yeah, like this can go in many different directions, and I definitely want to see how they play this, because even though that was such a little scene, Braden stealing the drugs, that is something that is going to be big in the future. Now that we know where we're at, currently in the story, which we're going to talk about.
Here's something that sorry.
No, carry on.
This is what I slightly wondered. How did he know where it was at?
I mean, he probably knows the hiding places. If that's a place they share or something, or they have, I guess he would know all the good hiding spots. Because it's kind of like me and my brother, like, because we grew
Had
up
your drugs together?
Huh? No. No, like, nothing like that. But, we had the same room together for years when we were younger and stuff. So it's like we know each other's hiding spots. Like, we know. So maybe it's just that, he knows where all the possible places that Braden could be hiding something. And it is his brother, so he probably sees his behavior and knows that he's doing something with Tariq. So, he just knows. Like, it's just intuition, that sibling intuition kind of thing. So, what was you going to say, Rich?
Oh, no. Yeah, I pretty much was agreeing with everything that was said. Continue. I just said we'll see what happens, but I was going to add that I believe the only character that Braden has seen so far is Drew. So let's hope that Drew isn't the one that ends up getting taken out, because he is the only one that Braden has saw. I don't believe he's seen Kane yet, so we'll see.
Yeah. So yeah, that will be something to keep an eye on when the show does return. But so let's talk about the rest of the party, right? So where should we go first? Okay, so let's talk about Riley first, right? So so she seems like overly keen to snitch for her uncle. So of course, they sit together in this episode, and she tells him that she's been staying there and sleeping with the guy. He's worried because he thinks it's Tariq at first, but she tells him it's Tariq's friend or whatever. So he kind of does he kind of does a Tasha, because he's like, okay, yeah, keep doing that. He encourages her to do the wrong thing, just like Tasha did. So yeah, he encourages her to keep doing that and send him all information. And then of course, this leads right up to her, when Tariq has passed out, she gets his location, she sets it up so she can track him, and then she tells Saxe where he is, and that's how he's able to record that footage of Tariq confessing or whatever. But I just want to talk about Riley, the character, specifically, because we kind of touched on that, and we will touch deeper on the footage as well. But for now, let's focus on Riley. And I want to ask you guys, like, is she going to be around? Like, do you think her purpose has been served now, or is she going to still be around? And does she have a lot more story left in this? And if so, what's going to be her motivations now? Like, does she actually like Braden? Does she want to be with him really, or was this just for her to kind of help out her uncle? Because if she was loyal to Braden, surely if she liked him, surely she would kind of be a bit wary about what she was doing. But she seemed very happy to help Saxe. So does that mean that she doesn't really like Braden a lot? So I want to ask you first, Dana. Like, what do you think of Riley, and what do you see for her as the story moves on?
Can I pull out my pen again and start killing off character?
Go right ahead.
I'm cool with her dying. She's one of those kids that kind of. I love the fact that no one likes her. She just gets cursed out by everybody in this whole episode. No one can stand her. Even when Tariq is in his state of being drugged, he's like, you homeless? Go away. Why are you always here? That's just kind of how I feel. Why is she always here? I feel that she and Saxe are just basically the same person. She seems like one of those kids who has a whole bunch of money, but is really bored and doesn't have real friends. And so by her doing this, it gives her something just to do in life in general. And she kind of feels that she's important. I don't think she's doing it because, oh my gosh, I love Saxe. I'm for the family. I don't see it as that kind of situation. It's just pure boredom. And for her to do drugs and go to parties and hang out with guys. Um, I don't see her dying. In my mind, I don't want her dead. I don't see her dying in this season at all. I do see her playing some more of an important role. Right now, she's like the mini sleuth that still people can't stand to be around. She's always digging information. She's trying a wee bit too hard. Because remember, she keeps asking about Tariq every 5 seconds. Where it's like, why are you so thirsty, girl? So I do think that can backfire and she may end up finding another tactic. Whether it's not, I don't think Braden wants anything to do with her. I don't think this is like some type of deep romance. I think this is just basically college. And, any girl who's around, that's my girl, but I don't think he means it as in we're in a committed relationship. But I do see her still trying to dig up information and to be that kind of sleuth. Even when she was able to put the tracker on his phone, where she can he shares his location with her. I do see her doing something more, and that'll end up involving Saxe and Mcleen now that we know. But do see it being a lot harder because none of the characters can stand her.
Yeah.
Think that her purpose is done at the moment. Maybe in season 1 she's done, but I feel she has more to annoy.
Because I was wondering, if there might be a point where they flip her, where like she actually starts to become loyal to Braden and Tariq, and then they use her to spy on Saxe or something like that. So I
I don't
wonder.
see her. I don't know if she would turn on Saxe though.
I mean,
Yeah, I
in
do
power,
see
anything is possible.
anything is power is possible because it is power. If that's the case, maybe she'll end up being one of the drug dealers.
Maybe.
Or maybe she just be the person that they always sell to. I don't know, but I don't. I see her still being involved. If not with Braden and with the brother. No, the brother can't stand her either. Nobody likes her.
Well, the brother did
Huh.
try to hit on her briefly.
Oh, you did. Oh, yeah. That's when. Oh, that's. See, I get them confused sometimes. They look alike. So yeah,
That's
that's when
good
she got
casting,
her.
then.
Yeah,
If
I
they
can't
look
tell if
alike
you're
that.
being sarcastic.
No,
Being
if they look alike that, must be good casting, then. Because they're brothers. So
So when that there was that part where she remember there was a part where she was arguing with somebody. Oh, and he was saying, "Oh, you're trying to sleep with my brother." So
yeah,
that was Braden's brother. Yeah, see, I got those two characters confused. So he was like, "Oh, that's Braden's brother," and then she walked away. No, he was mad at her, and then she walked away.
yeah, and then
Right?
yeah, there was a part where Braden got mad with her because she kept asking questions and stuff, and then he
Tariq.
kind of checked
Yeah,
her.
nobody likes her. She makes her job even more difficult.
So what would you think about this, Rich? Any thoughts?
If I had to make a prediction about what happens with the Riley character, is that she may actually end up helping Tariq at a later time, because I what I got out of this, when Tariq got drugged, it appears to me she felt really bad that happened, which is why she made sure to make sure she got his face scanned and was able to pinpoint where his location was, which of course Saxe did use later on for his own personal means to help his case. But she did seem legit concerned when he was drugged. So if I had to make a prediction, she may end up helping him at a later time. As to how that happens, I can't really tell you. We would just have to wait and see whatever it is that they ultimately plan if they go that route.
At the complete opposite, because when Braden went to go when they did that weird thing with the cups, and Tariq and when Braden handed it to Tariq, she looked at it as in like no, like a slow mo no, kind of shocked, but she didn't stop anything. And then later on, when he was in the room drugged up, she pulled out the phone to scan his face, not in like oh my, because if she really felt bad about the whole situation, she wouldn't have done that at all, but she still continued with the task. And when she was talking on the phone with Sax, she wasn't like upset about it. She was like, yeah, and then I jumped Tariq by mistake. Whoopsie. That kind of situation. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, this is backfired. Tariq is drugged. I don't know what to do, Dad. It was just let him go. And in all honesty, if the wrong kind of mixture, Tariq could have just died.
Yeah.
Pulled out the phone, scanned his face, put the tracker thing on, and just left. He was like, oh, bye. After he blessed her out. But she still left.
Yeah, it was very insensitive and stuff, but
She didn't
you
even
know,
stay with him.
that's
So,
that's what privilege can do to people. So, but damn, what was I gonna say? Um, was you finished, Rich? By the way.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, Riley actually, she spikes a drink, and then Tariq gets it, as Dana just talked about. And then that leads to the chain of events we already kind of discussed. But before we get to that point, right? There's a lot of tension at this party, between the women, and everything. So I want to take a moment to speak on that. So Diana and her brother Drew show up at the party and everything, and Diana and Tariq are talking, and obviously they go there with the purpose of trying to figure Tariq out and everything he's doing. And in a conversation that Monet has with Diana earlier in the episode, she basically gives her that speech about they Drew failed, and I guess what's his name, Kane, did, and she can't ask Zeke. So she basically tells her like, this is on you. I need you to find out what's going on and I need you to, to be a better woman and all that kind of stuff. So, she goes to the party with the intention of kind of learning more about Tariq and everything, but Lauren shows up, right? And then to me, it seems like Tariq, he kind of gravitated towards Lauren more, in that moment. And of course, he ends up having that drink, and that kind of ruins the moment they have together, because he's drunk and everything, and then they're about to kind of kiss and get intimate, but then he just kind of passes out. And she didn't even really check on him either, like to make sure he's okay. She could have like tucked him in or something, like, but she just left him, walked away. But I want to ask you guys, so did Tariq officially make a decision in that moment? Because we know that because we're gonna get to this later on, but basically he's been playing a game with Monet, essentially, is what they're kind of trying to tell us. So he's playing a psychological game, right? So that might have influenced his decision not to kind of go further with Diana. But I want to ask you guys, because he did kind of gravitate more towards Lauren when she came. It was like there was this extra special glow and look that they had for each other. So I want to ask you guys, did he make his official decision in that moment? And is Lauren the one for him? So I'll go to you first, Dana. What did you think?
I think that he did have that extra glow when he saw Lauren. And I think that, we said this before, that's his little boo. I think that he genuinely, truly likes her. I think that he has to keep up the other facade with the other girl because, again, that's Monet's daughter, or quote, unquote daughter.
Yeah.
Because I'm still convinced that something's up with her. Her daughter. And the last thing you want to do is anger mom because you've broken her heart or somehow disrespected. She felt that she was disrespected or being used. That can backfire. So he has to keep up that facade and make her. She is, I care. I think about you. That kind of thing. So I think he's going to not necessarily play, but just appease her emotions so that it doesn't backfire on him and his business. But he genuinely likes the other girl. And even there was like that weird tense moment when they kind of saw each other, Yeah. And he kind of looked nervous a little bit. It was cute. A little nervous. They was like, "What's up?" That kind of situation. So it's nice to see that kind of dynamic play, the little tension and stress. But overall, he likes Lauren more.
Yeah. Like in that moment, like Diana really kind of got dissed, because he was already talking to Diana, and then Lauren just shows up, and then
but that's kind of like extra rude. It's like, yeah, I'm talking to you, da 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 da, and then you see her like hi, and it's like bye to the other one. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, because I thought the opposite was gonna happen. I thought when Lauren came, he was gonna be like, I'm talking to someone, I'll hit you back later, but me and Diana are talking right now. But instead, he walks off with Lauren. So
I thought he was gonna but I thought it could have been nastier. It was like, yeah, okay, bye, go away. And then she would have that look where she's like just staring over, like, oh my god, what'd he do? It didn't go that way. Which is nice.
What do you think about it, Rich?
Yeah, I think it's 100% clear that he made his choice that Lauren is the one for him, because even when Diana was there, think about how that conversation went. She saw Diana, they both, it was a bit of a little hostility between both of them, and then Tariq clarified and said, "Oh, she's just here looking for her brother," because Drew was there. So when he did that, I was like, "Oh, so that you let her know, hey, listen, I'm not worried about her. Let me go spend some time with you." So that made it very clear to me that it's about Lauren. And then, of course, what they always say, when you drink, You get real comfortable, and sometimes things come out that you otherwise would have kept secret. He was very, very clear when he talked to Lauren that yes, you shouldn't be messing around with Malcolm. I'm the one you should be messing around with. And then, of course, it didn't progress further because she said, no, I don't want to do it this way because you're drunk. So, yeah. So, pretty much, yeah, Lauren is his choice. We'll see what happens with their interaction after this episode.
But also, one of the most defining moments, kind of, you could say, with their relationship was that he still had the gun in his pocket. And
Yeah.
she took the gun and put it in his bag.
Yeah.
So that he wouldn't get in trouble or do harm to himself accidentally. So that shows also that she cares that much about him as well.
But also, she got that gun and then told Monet, yeah, he had a gun on him. So she was also still working for her mom as well to get information. So
then, do you think that whole thing was a facade?
I don't think she took that to look after him. I think I think after he kind of dissed her, I think she was in the mindset of I'm gonna do what Monet told me to do, and like I'm gonna keep my feelings out of this. And then she saw the gun, she took it, maybe to spite him a little bit, and then also to kind of report back to her mom of what's going on. So I think that's what happened with Diana.
I just want to say this.
What's up?
Tariq is very lucky that he didn't happen to wander into Tommy on his way to the cemetery, because he probably would have got put 6 feet under if Tommy was out there with no gun, nothing. Yeah, he would have got. Yeah, that would have been it for Tariq.
Let's be clear. Tommy was watching. He was in the background. He was like 100 yards behind Saxe. Like
he is the wind that was in the trees, just breezing along.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real. But so yeah, like my thing is with the whole Diana thing as well, because we're gonna lead right into it now, right? So it's revealed right at the end that basically this has been like a whole kind of Sherlock kind of mind game between Tariq and Monet, where she's testing him and he knows, so he's trying to basically prove to her that he's the perfect partner and he's like 100% like loyal or like trustable, I guess, dependable, if you will. So like this whole thing has been a mind game, and he's kind of like won the chess game, I guess, like the mental chess game that's been going on. So before we unpack that part, this is what makes me think that things could still kind of materialize between him and Diana, because what it looks like is that he might have intentionally not gone too far with Diana, because he knows that he knows why she was there in that moment, and he knows that Monet was trying to kind of keep tabs on him or whatever. So he kind of did that on purpose. He went off with Lauren instead, instead of going all the way with Diana. So that makes me think there's still a possibility that things could intensify between him and Diana. I don't think it's 100% off the table. I do think it was a calculating move, but he also does have kind of a special spark with Lauren as well, I think. So we'll see how that plays out. But let's get to this Monet thing, right? So yeah, like I don't even have a way to set this up. I'm just gonna ask you guys what you think. So Rich, let me know what did you think in that moment? When he's face to face with Monet, and he tells her, yeah, like I forget what exactly he says, but he basically says, I didn't do anything with Diana, and whatever he says, right? And then she's like, so who can I trust, or which of my sons can I trust, or whatever? And he's like, me. he looks at, Kane for a brief moment, and then he says me. And then, she's like, you ain't, they dap each other up. And then she's like, you.
They dap each other?
Yeah, like, they have like a special handshake and everything. It's like they practice it a few times already. But yeah, and then she says, you ain't, you're naked, you ain't got a gun on you. And she gets Kane to pass him his gun, which is like crazy. And he's obviously salty about that. So yeah, Rich, what did you think of this whole moment and what it says about the events that have happened previously?
Well, so in my opinion, all that we've been seeing up to this point with Power in Monet's character is that once she agreed to work with Tariq, she has been having her kids try to spy on him and try to figure out what his motivations are, how he's making this money in case they need to cut him out on product. And at every turn, Tariq has outsmarted them 100%. So to me, it's like if I'm playing against a team that wins a ton of championships and I keep on losing, then I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm like, well, why don't I just join them? I can't beat them, so I'll join them. So what I got from that whole interaction is that she said, you know what, you have outsmarted me every time I thought about you. You're handling your business. You're doing a great job. So you know what? Yes, we can work together. I trust you 100%. You can come over here anytime. Yes, you're just like family. And I personally feel that was set up because what they have also been building over the last several episodes is that Monet just makes decisions. She does what she does as the one in charge. But in that last episode, when she had made the decision to work with Tariq, you remember that Kane asked her, I thought we were supposed to make these decisions together. She said, no, you're going to play your position and I'm going to play mine. So it's creating a rift between whether or not she can, it's going to be some jealousy between Kane in terms of how Monet is viewing Tariq, because she's looking at him now as a part of her family. And again, because she cannot rely on her own kids to do things smoothly, because we have seen over the last several episodes, she would always ask them, what the hell is going on? What are y'all doing? All this type of stuff. So obviously, she feels very comfortable with Tariq up to this point because business is booming. They're doing well. So that's why she just decides in that moment to make it very clear, all right, I'm with you 100%. You're doing a great job. So yes, we can work together. Come over here anytime you want to. And that's going to cause issues with jealousy with Kane. Now, obviously, Tariq is cool with Drew, so there ain't going to be no issues with Drew. Diana, yes, they have a bit of a complicated situation now because Diana was interested in Tariq from the very first episode. So we'll see how that goes, but it definitely creates an issue long term between her and between Tariq and Kane, from what I could see.
Yeah. Because, I mean, in that moment, it seemed like, Monet might ask about, Kane, and Tariq might say, yeah, Kane he's been cool. Like, he's been, he's been 100% thorough or something. Because, I mean, he is kind of like the most loyal one, I think. Or, well, yeah. he's... With Kane, he's impulsive and he's liable to, he's likely to do something violent. He'll react on emotion probably at certain points, but I feel like he is loyal to her. He does what she says.
Absolutely.
So yeah. I don't see a particular problem, that she should have with him. So the fact that she made it a point for him to give Tariq his gun, it's like she's saying, okay, I'm choosing Tariq over you in this moment. It's like, wow, that's a big deal.
And the other thing that I definitely want to add to that point very quickly, and then I'll let you go to Dana, is that one thing that we have been talking about on every episode since this season has started is that it looks as though Monet wants her kids to be the successors. She wants them to run the business. And of course, if they're not doing a good job, then she will criticize them and all this other stuff. Whereas with Tariq, he has proven that he can successfully do his own thing and not really rely on anybody. So of course that is attractive to her as well, because that's what she would look for. But it definitely causes issues because, again, I'm pretty sure her kids have aspirations to do other things. We already know they want to do stuff outside of this business. But as long as Monet is in charge, she's not going to want that to happen. So that's why I thought it was very interesting, as you said, to do that in front of Kane, because definitely going to make him feel a certain type of way. And as you mentioned, he is a loose cannon. So let's see what happens as a result of all this. But it is a game of chess, which is, again, why it's a perfect metaphor that chess is also highlighted in this show. And everything down to how the show starts, et cetera, et cetera. So, yes, it's a game of chess with everybody's making different moves. So, excellent. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. But Dana, you already spoke on this, right?
Oh, I did not.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. My bad.
Here's the thing. I trust no one in this whole scene. This was just one of those guessing games. Here's the issue. Tariq doesn't trust Monet. Monet doesn't trust Monique. Dean, what's his name? Drake? I called him Drake.
Drew.
Drew is sitting there hot-headed and jealous over what's going on.
No, you mean Kane. You mean Kane.
Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Kane is hot-headed and jealous over what's going on. Drew's the other brother, right? The other brother who's with the guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's off doing his own thing. This is something he's just not concerned about. So we put him on the side. So you have that, and then you have Diane, right? Who is trying to work with her mother in order to prove herself. Monet doesn't trust anyone, and she also has her own secrets, because I'm still concerned about the whole situation with the phone in the second episode when she was bugging out with the father's situation. So I don't trust her. I trust no one. And this is what makes for good TV, because anything could go down and everything could go down all at once, and anybody could be some type of weird flippity floppity where we're setting other people up. So I don't know where it goes from here. I do feel that the brother Kane is jealous and maybe will try to retaliate somehow in some way against Tariq. But they do have that weird, I'm not going to say comfortability, but they're getting along so far. But I don't see this being something that's going to last for long. He looks grimy, like he's going to plot and plan something on the side, and not even tell his mother about it as well. And so, I don't know. I have no idea what's going on, but it sounds exciting if they don't botch this.
Yeah, like, I give him. I know we've critiqued, some of the points in the writing a lot in the previous episodes. But, they've done a good job setting this moment up. And I think some of the things that have happened before kind of play up this. So, like, when we question Monet being so controlling and everything. So it seems to me like, she wants that successor, like Rich said. She wants that person that she can rely on to run things, and she doesn't have to kind of micromanage and, fix things. And she sees that now in Tariq, and Tariq has been proving this to her because he knows that, he figured out that she has these, insecurities about her children and stuff. So, and they have been kind of playing this up, this whole time. So this was pretty good. Like, this was pretty well executed. And it kind of does raise the stakes a little now, because what's going to happen now is, like, now that Tariq has earned Monet's trust, that is the most vulnerable point for her to be at, because now Tariq can go one step further than that. He can, we're talking about a game of chess, like, Rich talked about, now he can, he can make all the moves now, like, and win the game, because he could kind of fully take over the situation if she lets up her guard.
Right.
So yeah, even though it seems like now they're trusting each other and they're cool with each other now, now it feels like the real kind of game begins, like to see who's gonna really have control over the situation. And don't forget, there's also, the Mr. Tejada in the background. So how is that gonna affect things? And they still have a watchful eye over Tasha. So all of these elements can kind of play into each other a little. So it's gonna get very, very interesting now. I will say that. Go ahead.
The only thing I question is, remember when they threatened to kill Tariq, and we didn't exactly know who was doing the threatening? And remember, was that mysterious guy who was in the prison,
Yeah.
pretending to be on the phone?
Mm-hmm.
I want to know, where does that come into play? Is that a serious threat? Is Tariq always being watched? So that I also want to know.
We need to go. No, go ahead, Rich.
I just was going to say, I mean, what I'm personally getting out of those interactions is that Lorenzo Tejada wants Tasha to think that Tariq is in trouble. He wants her to think that, yes, well, he needs to do everything. If he doesn't do everything that we say, then he's dead. But that's only, I think it's just a scare tactic, because they don't really, because really Tariq is running things right now for the moment until there's an issue with his operation. But he's obviously doing very well as far as working with them. So I just think because Tasha's on the inside and doesn't know what's really going on the outside, they're playing around with her to tell her, yes, he's in trouble and he needs to do everything that we say, all this other stuff. But
is that an effective tactic in order to move the story forward, do you feel?
Well, I mean, they did acknowledge that Tariq has been doing well, but he bought it. They had that whole message that they sent where he's doing well. He bought himself another day. Yeah, but I just think they're doing that because they're trying to manipulate the situation. Because again, we know that they like to control people. Right. They don't know who Tasha is. They know that she's the Tariq's mother. So obviously they're going to just play it out now as to say, well, Tariq is in trouble. He's working with us now, but if he screws up, then he's a dead man. I just think they for right now, they just want to get her scared. But we'll see, because Tariq hasn't had any issues with his operation as of this episode. But of course, that's probably going to change when it comes back, since Braden's brother's stealing product now. So.
Mm-hmm. Hey, he looked like he's gonna just get high on all. I can't tell if he's gonna try to sell or just get high on everything. All over the place and just arrogant.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that, depending what the brother does with those drugs, that can open up a completely new can of worms in itself. Because he could resell those drugs to someone else, and then that's somebody else. That becomes somebody else in the chain, and then they're gonna keep wanting those drugs, and then it might escalate. So yeah, that we'll have to wait and see for that. What I was gonna say is we need to, I guess maybe in the next episode or whatever, we need to see what Mr. Tejada thinks of this, the fact that now Monet has kind of accepted Tariq and trusts him and everything, and has let him in. We need to know what his take is on that, because he might not see things the same way that Monet does, and that might cause problems, because he's the one who can pull the strings when it comes to his mother. So that's going to be interesting. And then another thing I wanted to bring up too is is this the last we're going to see of that police officer that Monet was sleeping with, do you think?
Oh no. No. He'll be back around again, because again, they need him to keep them protected and out of trouble. So when something happens to him, because something is eventually going to happen to him, then that whole family is going to become vulnerable. But yeah, it's not the last time that we've seen him, for sure.
I wonder if there's going to be any direct interaction now between him and Tariq now. Because we can assume that Tariq might start to show his face more at the home and everything. So
Yeah.
I want to see how that might play out if they cross paths. But yeah, any more thoughts on this before we wrap it up, because I guess it is about that time.
No.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Dana.
Sorry, I had a sneezing fest.
Bless you.
Thank you. Overall, for a finale, I kind of felt I wanted a little bit more. Just because
For a
the
mid-season finale.
I'm sorry, I keep saying season finale, mid-season finale. I wanted a little bit more. I do feel like we was cheated. Some episodes it felt like it went by way too quick. Maybe that's just time now. Everything's just really fast. But for a Tariq show, I think they did really well. And I look forward to what is going to happen with all of these characters, aside from the female teacher, because I don't like her.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think they did well, and there's a lot of questions they raised, and they didn't really answer anything, but there's a lot of questions they raised.
Yeah. And what about you, Rich? What's your thoughts on this mid-season shift?
So two quick comments. First and foremost, I know we didn't really bring this up in the review, but I see that Drew did have some issues in this episode. As you know, we learned that the young gentleman who he has been trying to get with, he does not want anyone to know about about his orientation type stuff. And you see that Drew is still constantly trying to pursue this guy. So that is going to definitely not lead to a good ending for that relationship. I will not be surprised if somebody does eventually get killed behind that. So I wanted to make a comment on that. And lastly, I will say this. This is going to be considered a very controversial statement, but I don't really care. This is just my personal opinion. The mid-season finale of this show, in my personal opinion, this is the best episode that I've seen so far all season of this show, because of all of the moving pieces, all of the revelations about now you have Davis Mcleen teaming up with Saxe. It's a lot of interesting things happening with the story. And as I mentioned at the start of this podcast, the fact that they are writing this show for people who dislike Tariq and people who like Tariq is brilliant, because now I feel like the people who would say, "Oh, I don't want to watch this show," they may watch the show now because they believe that something's going to happen to Tariq. And then the people who are watching the show, they want to see, well, how is Tariq going to be able to get out of this situation? So again, the writing team did an excellent job. And I am very curious to see what happens when the show returns in December. So I got to give them props.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And yeah, I mean, did you have anything to say, Dana, about the Drew's relationship with that guy? Because now that Rich brought it up, because we didn't touch on it before.
In general, I was just so sad because I just want characters who are gay just to be regular happy gay. You don't have to hide who you are. And I understand that that's not the world, but it would just be nice to have, just you're gay and you're happy and you have your relationship and you live your life and it is what it is. But that, like I said, that's not everyone's life path. So overall, I just kind of felt really sad about the whole situation and how he was kind of brushing off the guy and completely like not ashamed and disowning him when the sister was around, which just made me so sad. But hopefully, he will find his comfortability. And also another thing that was kind of weird. Remember when Monet found the drawing?
Yeah.
Yep.
And she was like, "Who is that?" That goes right again with that controlling mess that I still wonder what the heck is going on. That's
Wait,
my biggest
like,
question.
one sec. Like, how did she expect Tariq to know who that was?
It was a chest and a shoulder. Who is that? Is he a part of the business? Does he know everything? I'm like, wow. Get this from a drawing? So, I need to know
Yeah.
why is she so paranoid. And I need for him just to be happy. I'm confused. But overall, it was a good season, uh, and I liked it.
Yeah. Do we have a name for that guy? Like the gay guy? Does he have a name?
The yeah, I forgot the character's name. So
Okay. Well, I do want to say that I don't know why he's so worried about everyone knowing that he's gay. Because I mean, clearly everyone in the art class knows already. Because like when he saw Drew, his his eyes were so big, I thought they were gonna pop. Like,
yeah, that's a very good point. I didn't get that either because it's like now you're going to be hesitant, but it was very clear when he first saw him there was interest. I find it very weird now. All of a sudden, like, oh no, we can't do this in public, even though we were both giving each other googly eyes at the
Again,
class.
it
Yeah.
has to do with Monet and that paranoia and always keeping him under her thumb. Something is not right there because I think if Monet wasn't a factor, he would be happy and googly eyeing in public and in private and in showers and in drawings.
yeah. I mean, he does say that like his whole family knows already. So it's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
he
Yeah,
did
that
mention that. So you got answers about that. So
yeah, this it's still I don't know. Teenagers are emotional and weird. I don't know.
yeah. But there was something else I was gonna say. But okay, yeah. So I mean, I kind of agree with what Rich was saying. I think this is a great, wrap up of the first half of this season and everything. It's a shame we're only seeing 5 episodes, but for 5 episodes, I think they did a good job of giving us this Tariq show. They made it good because, of course, everyone had their reservations about this show when we learned that Tariq was gonna have his own kind of show because he was the most hated character. But they kind of, they've turned it around, and they've made it an interesting show. And I kind of just look at it as, some pretty good quality, African American TV viewing. And I mean, it's not just African American though. There is a pretty diverse cast. There's different characters and stuff, but you just gotta appreciate that this is a production from our people, and we need to see more of this. So I appreciate the show for that. And I don't want to sound too much like Jabari, but yeah, this is very inspiring for people like us. So I'm a fan of the show officially, and I can't wait till December when it comes back, and we will return to review the show again and everything.
mhm.
So are we pretty much all in agreement that they did a great job with this so far? Dana?
Sorry, muted again. Absolutely.
Okay.
And here's the thing that really makes it great. Nobody wanted to see this show when
Mm.
they announced it. Literally, nobody cared. Richard was somewhere grumbling. You said, no, I refuse. I can't do it. You set your TV on fire. So, the fact that we can all come into agreement and be like, hey, that wasn't bad. That exceeded our expectations because we had no expectations.
Yeah.
Good job.
I mean, I can accept it because I know that Ghost is still alive. So, if he was really dead.
Oh,
But
gosh.
if he was really dead, then I'd be upset still. But he's still out there, so you know, I'm happy. But yeah, they did a great job. Shouts to Courtney Kemp, 50 Cent, Method Man, uh, Mary J. Blige, and everyone, the whole writing team. It's been a pleasure to actually just talk about this show every week, and I can't wait for it to return as well. So yeah, I definitely want all the listeners to let us know what you think, whether it's on YouTube or at thecoalition.com on the website, or just let us know what you think and what you think of the season so far, and let us know your predictions for the next episode. And I suppose I should ask you guys this too, real quick. We won't spend too long on it, but of course we didn't get any kind of preview for the next episode because it is a break. But do you guys have any particular predictions? Just some quick predictions of what you think we're gonna see when the show returns.
Riley dies.
What was that?
Riley dies. That's just me
Riley
personally.
dies. Okay. Who else?
Everyone.
Who else is gonna die?
All of them. Except for
Everyone.
Tariq. Everyone. Tariq just stands and like, I got the power now.
So like Thanos, he's gonna be like Thanos.
He's gonna be Thanos. They just snap them fingers. It's balanced. Everything's balanced.
Okay. Rich, any quick predictions of what we might see?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing when Tariq finds out all these people who he now has to be concerned about, trying to do him dirty. From Jabari all the way down to Davis McLean. So I'm just anticipating those moments of how he's going to find out this information. But other than that, yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing what's next. I can't really predict anything else because I yeah, I just want to sit back and see what they do because they're in a very good place now, and I hope that they maintain their quality for the next 5 episodes.
Give me more of the super friends, the lawyer super friends, and I'm happy.
Yeah, I love seeing corruption in America. That's like my favorite thing to read and watch. So yeah, show me more of that. Like I love that legal stuff. And Dana hates that I love it too. But
I
you
hate
know,
that you love it. Oh yeah. When we was down here, show me all the bad parts of the city. I love it.
I love I have a dark mind. What can I say? But but yeah. So I want to give a shout out to some of our supporters who have reached out and contacted us over the weeks and who have given us feedback and commented on the shows and told us what they think and everything, like because you guys make it worth doing this too. So I just want to give a shout out to a few people. So first of all, Rainy J, and then of course Robert Silva, who we've heard a lot from, with the voice clips and everything. And also I got an email from someone called Jabari as well. I don't think it was the real Jabari, but
Yeah.
but yeah, they reached out and shared a few comments about the show, about how they think that this is pretty much just like Power being retold, like the original and stuff. So shouts to him. Shouts to Mellow Fellow, who also he actually sent an email. I don't know if it's a he or she, but they sent an email through our website. So shouts to you. Shouts to Motown Investor, who also leaves a lot of comments and stuff, and also shouts to Terrence Stampley. So yeah, thanks you guys for actually taking the time to leave comments and send us emails and things like that, because that tells us that people are actually interested in the show and everything and enjoy hearing our takes, even though they might be a little out there at times. But we just love storytelling, and we're passionate about this. So we love getting on and talking about this, and we love Power. So and yeah, we love that you guys share that passion too. And we've noticed recently as well, we have a lot of listeners on Spotify. So if you are subscribed to the show on Spotify and you listen frequently, definitely hit us up, and let us know, because that helps us improve and get better, and we start to understand what people respond to, what people like and everything. So definitely engage and get your voices heard, and we want to hear more takes from everybody else about Power. So yeah, I'll just say that. So any final thoughts or shout outs from you guys before we get out of here? Go ahead, Dana.
Thank you once again for everyone who's been listening. This has been really fun. This exceeded everyone's expectations, which of course makes for a better show. So thank you for that. Also to the writers and the people of the power and the ghosting. So yeah, I look forward to when it comes back, so we can find out the rest that's going on.
big shouts to Starz. You know, when this pandemic goes away, you guys better like send us tickets to like the premiere or something. Like let us be on the red carpet, man. Like, for real. But yeah, Rich, any final thoughts or shout-outs?
Yeah, no, I just want to thank everybody who continues to listen to the show. You know, I know a lot of people will question about the length of the shows, etc. But I mean, when we, as Gary said, we are passionate about the shows, so we do spend time talking about this stuff because we are passionate about it. And hopefully, there are, you know, everyone does appreciate the time we are spending talking about these shows. But yes, if you would like to continue to see us cover other shows in the future, feel free to let us know. We'll try and make time to cover other shows. But in the meantime, definitely looking forward to seeing us talk about Power more in December. We still have the Walking Dead show, which we spoke about earlier, and then maybe some other shows we'll be covering in the future as well, such as Snowfall, etc. So just thank you all for your continued support. Hope that you enjoy listening, and feel free to leave your comments as you have been doing on every episode.
Cool. And yeah, we will be back once again in December. But in the meantime, if you guys like The Walking Dead or WWE or AEW or you know the PlayStation or the Xbox or The Boys, you know, we will have more content coming out over the next few months on a lot of different things, you know. So keep checking and see if there's something you like. If you just like Power, there will be a link to our playlist, like our Power playlist on YouTube, and you can just kind of subscribe or follow that playlist, and you know, you can check that to just get Power, the Powercast. But do take the time to check out our channel because we have a lot of different content about stuff that you might enjoy as well. So yeah, but until December, I just want to say thank you everyone, and you know, have a great 2020. I mean, it's been a bad year for a lot of us, but I hope you enjoy, you know, these last 3 or 4 months that we have. So take care of yourselves, everyone. Stay healthy, and yeah, drink water.
Mm-hmm.
Peace out.